882 6PR, where you don't miss a thing.
Everybody knows what happened to the American property market. It was probably 10 times worse than it was here, and it's been bad enough and still is pretty bad here in Australia. How do you like to profit from the foreclosed market in the United States? And foreclosed means the people have been foreclosed upon. A lot of them have just walked out on their properties and left the banks to try and sort out the mess. Well, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of these properties in the United States. One bloke who can put you in touch with them is Sean O'Hare, who's director of Foreclosed American Homes. Hello, Sean.
Hi, Howard. How are you?
Good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good.
Okay, what's on offer?
Well, we help Australians into the US property market. We buy in a number of cities in the US. We buy in Atlanta, Georgia, Phoenix, Arizona, and Orlando in Florida. And we basically just help investors who are looking for higher returns. So we help generally West Australians get into the US property market.
Now, was I right about foreclosed properties? A lot of these people have just walked away and given the keys to the bank?
That's right. The foreclosed properties are properties where generally the owner has just handed in the keys and left the property. So then it becomes a mortgagee sale, and the bank becomes the owner of the property, and a lot of these homes are vacant for a number of years before the bank offers them onto the market for sale. So what we do is we go in there and we purchase the properties, we have them renovated, and we put people. You
can say, what sort of condition are they in if they've been vacant for maybe years?
Look, some of them aren't particularly good, and some of them are like brand new. We typically, America went through a building boom from 2000 on to 2006, 2007. So
bit like us.
Right, exactly. Most of these properties are very new, and most of them are in pretty good condition. Of course, some of them are in pretty bad shape. But we've got people on the ground who go through these properties before we even make an offer on them. So,
now, I know some American people, one I was speaking to recently who just returned from a visit there, said you can get really good properties for a fraction of what they were, say, in 2006-07 when the boom was on it. They were talking about properties that maybe were worth $1.5 million then, worth about $500,000 now. Is that the sort of fractions we're talking about here?
It is. I mean, some of these areas, we're seeing prices that were 10% of what they sold for in 2006.
10%?
Yeah, we've purchased properties that sold for $350,000. We've picked them up for $35,000.
You're kidding?
It's just the market just absolutely collapsed. Having said that, what we're seeing now is because the prices have gone so low, you have investors from all over the world are picking up these properties.
I reckon.
Every day we're competing with Chinese and Indian investors, Americans, Canadians, UK investors, because these properties are vacant and there's still a strong rental market. People need to live somewhere. They're not owners anymore, but they still need to live somewhere, so they become tenants.
Can you give us a standout example of one you've got in your books at the moment?
One we've got on our books at the moment. We've got a property that was. I think we picked it up for $39,000, and it sold for over $200,000 in 2006.
But even that's cheap. Sounds like it. What sort of property would that be?
They're all newer constructed. None of the properties. Well, generally, none of the properties are double brick. In America, it's mostly timber frame, so they are cheaper to construct. However, they are all on a concrete slab. And mains connected everything. So, but
that'd be a family house, would it, for $39,000?
That's a family house. It's a five bedroom, 3 bathroom house, 170 square metres. I think.
Where is that?
Most of the best deals are in the south of the US. We concentrate on Atlanta, Georgia, and this property is in Atlanta.
Goodness. So you picked it up for $39. You're not selling for $39, I take it?
We do sell it for $39. We just charge a fee for helping people get into the property, but we sell it. We sell it for whatever we get it for.
What, are foreigners allowed to own it freehold?
They are, yes. There are no restrictions on foreign nationals owning direct property, so you own it freehold. Having said that, if you own a large number, it can be reviewed by the Foreign Investment Board. However, for the average mum and dad investor, there are no restrictions. You can own the property freehold, the land, as well as the house.
So, and there's no limit on the number. It's not like, say, some parts of Asia and Bali where they have leases on the property, and after a period of time it reverts back to the locals?
No, it's all freehold. None of it's lease. You don't have to be a citizen. You can be a foreign national and own the property.
And you can rent it out over there. You can rent it out to people.
That's right. We typically see the tenants are the people that used to own the properties before. They've handed back the keys. They've just given their property up, and they move into rental accommodation. So we typically we rent to the people who were previously owners.
Okay. Now, one caller off air says some people have problems because the US banks hold the titles on these foreclosed homes. What do you know about that?
Well, that's right. We buy them directly from the banks. So we go through a lawyer in the US, and we get title insurance, and we check out the titles. It's different to Australia. The US system, any tax liens or debts are directed to the property. So a mortgage is attached to the property as opposed to the person. So you have to be careful to make sure you do check out the titles and make sure there aren't any outstanding debts against
the encumbrances. Okay, so if, for instance, the property was on the market for 39, but the previous owner still owed 100 grand to the bank, you'd be up for that.
You would be liable for that, exactly, and that's where you can get into trouble. However, you just need a good lawyer that checks out the title, that you get insurance on, and obviously we don't purchase those kind of properties.
I was going to say, the ones you got, the 39,000 one, is that unencumbered?
That's completely unencumbered. We wouldn't sell a property that had an encumbrance against it.
So that's it, 39 grand?
39,000. We typically do some renovations in order to get tenants. I mean, it's just as in Australia, you need to present the property well. So we go through, we've got a construction manager that goes through every property. Generally, the properties we pick up don't need much work, just cosmetic, paint, carpets, a tidy up of the garden is really about it.
So who manages the property? In other words, you're over here in Perth and the property's over in Atlanta. It's pretty hard to keep a check on what the tenants are up to. Who manages it? It
is. That's why you need a good property manager. It's just the same as if you owned a property, let's say on the East Coast. You know, you can't just drive down the road and see it. So you do need to rely on property managers. However, we've got some really good ones, and we use them exclusively for the properties that we sell, and it's been very good. So
how long has this been going on, Sean, with you?
We've been around for nearly a year now. Having said that, there have been Australians doing it since 2008. That's when it really started. Prices obviously continued to fall through 2008. So towards the end of 2008, you really saw a lot of investors starting to look at this. And now you'd be amazed at the number of investors that are over there doing this.
So how many Australians have you helped to get into property over there?
We've helped probably 50 investors. We've probably sold 50 properties now. Having said that, there are plenty of groups in Australia that do this, and I'd suggest the numbers are up around the thousands, if not the tens of thousands of properties being bought since 2008 by Australians.
But you can't just go and live there, can you? Because you need a green card.
Well, you need a visa. You do need
a green
visa.
Card to work, I mean.
You need... the US has an agreement with Australia in regards to visas. So there are some quite good visas just for Australians, exclusively for Australians. I think they're called an E3 visa.
Yeah.
Having said that, you can go over there for 3 months a year without any visa. You just apply for the visa waiver program. So we have a number of clients that actually buy these properties simply to rent them out for 9 months a year and then use them as a second holiday home for 3 months a year.
Right, you got properties listed on your website?
We do, yes.
And your website is foreclosedamericanhomes.com.au, is that right?
That's right. Anyone can give us a call and feel free to chat. We're always talking to people about it, so we're quite happy for people to give us a call, and they've usually got lots of questions, which is fine.
What's the best property you got at the moment?
The best property is probably that 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom. Having said that, I think it was sold this morning. So with any properties we get, we sell pretty much the same day. So
you're heightened my interest, and then you tell me it's gone.
I think. I'm not sure.
Right.
I have to check.
Okay, good on you. Thanks, Sean.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, director of a company called Foreclosed American Homes. There you go, 39 grand, James. Off you go to Atlanta.
That's all you need.
All you need, 39 grand. Off you go.
Drive, brought to you by John Hughes in Victoria Park, WA's most trusted car dealer.